Okay, so this is my take on and my thoughts on Splat to Clat. I think I said that right. This is the one that you've seen recently put out by gospel musicians. First of all, they put out a lot of great apps, of which I think fondly of or feel fondly of because they all sound really good. This one's no different as far as sound. In my opinion, I mean, you can pick anything in here. Let's go to the kits. I'm going to pick the R&B. I'll talk about some things that I think could be better and that I'd like to see. Okay, so if you hear a little shaking or rattling, that is, well, two things. One, this pencil here I need to put up. And two, something else. I have a connection cable here that's, if you've seen the last video, you've seen it in this one. It's basically how I'm playing the music through, but it's keeps bumping the table, so that's sorry about that. As I hit the iPad, that's the only thing about using the iPad is. So anyway, let's get back to the app. That's the more important things. All right. So sound wise, no question, it's amazing. What do I like about it other than sound? I think it's the potential that it has is what I like more than the actual app itself. Granted, it does have some capabilities. I'm not going to go into explaining. You can look at Jamal's videos. You can look at other people's videos for all of that. This is just my thoughts on the app. So what I think is that it's incredible with it when it comes to editing. Like you can, I mean, the features, if you hold this down, you'll see all the stuff that you can mess with from effects. I mean, the fact that it has effects slide is crazy. I mean, it's got the volume, the pan, the mute, the solos all right here. It does use loops, but then at the same time has the one shots from the loops. So you have really, if you go into here, you got the options of factory loops, factory chops, or factory kits. I probably would stay in the kits more. I'm not a big person on, if I'm going to use loops, I tend to want to be able to chop the loop myself. And so, well, there's no loops technically in there right there. For some reason, factory chops are all here. So they chopped them for you. So I reckon this is good. Like if you, like here's the transport bar so you can. So you could create and use theirs if you don't drum. But if I'm being blatantly honest, that's not me. But so I'm not saying it's bad. It's for some people, it's going to be good. I was hoping this would work, but oh, maybe it does. Okay. Maybe everything is hold. See, I'm really just got this app today, so I'm trying to figure it out. I don't fully understand that. Okay, but we'll worry about that later. Let's talk about some of the things. It's kind of cool that you can bring MIDI files in, import MIDI files. They have a ton of loops in here. And then, like I said, everything sounds good. Let's go back to what I like, which is the kits. We'll go R&B, and we'll just pick, we'll pick something. I'm going to turn it up a little bit because I feel like it's too low. Okay, so that's one of my issues. These pads, well, first of all, I'm on the mini, so it is a little bit smaller, but my fingers are fat. So if you got fat fingers, you pretty much have to hit over on this side of the pad, because if you start drifting over here and you hold the pad too long, it'll bring up the controls. I don't really like that. I think they should have put, and then, mind you, this is just my opinion, I think they should have had a control section that you could just maybe hit this button. Well, this button goes into settings. Maybe a button or something where you can go to edit mode and this be the edit mode, which is perfect for that. And then have one where it's just the pads when I'm ready to just play. Now, it may be in here. I don't know. I've looked around. I don't see it. I would love to know if that is in there. But I went through streaming mode. I don't know what that means. I don't see. Reverse pad click. Man, there's a user manual. That's good. Auto select UC. So I'm not sure on that. I need to spend a little more time with it. Mind you, I'm still just got it today, so I'm just giving you a real raw opinion on it, or what I think. But like I said, I don't mind this part down here, the pan, the volume, and this, but these controls here, they just, unless you're using a controller where you're not touching this, I think this can be kind of a pain. They're stacking these drums too. So you'll see when I hit 1, 2 of them light up. SP, we would call it, we link them in the SP, linking two pads. In Koala, you pretty much just mix the pads together, right? So you can make your own rhythms or use theirs. It's whatever you want to do. So I don't like using other people's loops. The good thing is this app is not just other people's loops. You can chop the loops. And because I don't have a visual of the loop, I don't mind chopping by ear. But when two pads are linked, I have to look down, remember, okay, that kick is 14. This is 108. So if I go into edit this one, let's say I go into the controls. They do have all the controls. Because there's no visual, see how 1 is there? You have to remember which, this is where you select them. You got to remember which one you're on, or you could be tweaking something and just totally jack that up. So here's the amps for it. Can I move this? Yeah, you can. At least you can move that. So you can use this attack, hold, decay, sustain, release in order to be able to adjust how the sample sounds. But you know how like you hear a sample, it's got that tail end is like what is it? Like a hat on it, because you're chopping a break up. These are chopped really nicely though. But I don't mind them being linked. I think that's good, but I don't know how you unlink them. So I would have to figure that out. How do you unlink a pad? There's a normal one-shot loop, reverse sample, disable, sustain. But it's a lot of little things like that I would have to sit and play with it longer, I guess, to be able to give you an honest opinion whether it's good or not. And it's probably because I just don't know how to do it, which is okay. But I'm just giving you my first form thought. When I look at this and I compare it into something like Koala, which I'm used to using, I like being able to see the sample. I think that's important to me. So it would have been cool if they could have had, I know they have a transport bar. Maybe put the transport bar down here. This is just my thoughts, take, and then have a little screen or something where you could at least see the sample when you hit it. And they could have put it this way to teach you to listen to it versus just using visual. Because I know a lot of us have gotten used to visual, at least in the last decade for sure, of visually listening, looking at waves and all those things versus actually listening to it, which is, you know, you got to give them credit for that. That's actually important because listening is a huge part of music. And so it's good to do. But mind you, this is my first thoughts and take on it. It may get better, and I'm sure they're going to make things better too. I just know I think they said it's a rompler. And so if you don't like romplers, probably not going to be your favorite thing. There are user presets. You can bring in your own presets, your own library. If I use this, it probably would be more for inspiration when I need inspiration of some sort. But because I have so many drum samples, this is like, I don't know, this is different. So I don't know how much I would use it. But see, that drives me crazy. So this bottom little black line here is where the another thing is, I'm used to working from the bottom up, so I usually have drums at the bottom. This stuff, and I would usually put tambourines and stuff up here. So it works in the reverse order of what I'm used to. I would love it if you could switch this. So, like if I could press a button and move these blocks around, I would put this bottom row up top and this top row down bottom, because I prefer to drum down here, and let this be. So it's not set up. It's set up one way, and it's pretty much, as far as I know, this is the only way you can use it. So for me, that doesn't work very well. I like my freedom. I'm sorry. And this is a rompler. I don't think it's meant to be that way. It's meant to be as it's set, and you just use it. And the C3, I imagine, would be if you're on a keyboard, you can use it right on the keyboard, and you'll know the notes and stuff that you're using, which probably might work actually better if you're used to a keyboard, or even some pads. So then you wouldn't be touching all this extra stuff on here. But anyway, all right, this has been 11 minutes on one app, and I'm usually not an app reviewer. I usually just talk to you about things that I actually use. But this one I might use a little bit. I'm going to play around with it. I'm going to give it some time. I think it's on sale right now for like $7.99, which is actually really cheap. So I would say grab it if you like good sounds, drum sounds, because the worst case scenario, let's say you don't really care for the app. Worst case scenario is let me show you something. You have loops. I'm going to get rid of these. So you could, well, usually that would work. Guess it's not working here. You could, in theory, throw this in maybe AUM, put this down below if you wanted to pick these samples out of it. And the $7.99 could become like a sample pack for you, to where you're using the sounds as a sample pack. I mean, it's really up to a person individually. If you just really love the sounds in there, you could do that, I guess. And they are good sounds. So my upfront take is not going to be for everybody. It's a good app, and if you don't have a lot of kits, don't want to get on Splice, don't want to deal with all that extra expenditures, maybe you buy something like this for $7.99 and you use it as a drum sampler, or even a starter, a way to get yourself into, because maybe you don't have a groove in mind. And the grooves sound good. I can't deny that. So you could take that groove and build on it. Maybe get some ideas going for a chorus or a chord or whatever you want to do. That's my take on it. There's other slots. You have an ABC. So you could throw in, technically, I guess, 3 drum kits per thing, or build your own, however you want to do. Yeah, that's all I got for this one. There's some good videos out there if you watch them, though, that'll tell you more detail about how to use it. Probably won't see that from me, because I probably won't use it as much as other people, but that's not a down thing. It's just it's not laid out the way I would like it to be able to even drum from it. So therefore it would become, for me, just something where I press play, bring a loop in and press play. And I don't see the point of doing that. I can do that with a lot of different apps. So yeah, that's my take on it. It's still worth $7.99, because I've paid way worse for other apps I would never ever use. I'm not saying names, but it's true. And just to have the kits and the loops is pretty special. So yeah, that's a nice thing. And GM, gospel musicians, make really good apps too, by the way. I like a lot of all their stuff. And my favorite one, besides Pure Synth, is probably the Extreme. It should be on my tablet. I don't know if Maybe I forgot to put it on this one, or I have it in another folder. It's the extreme one. What is it called? Extreme Sensation, I think is what it is. Is that it? I might be wrong on the name. I tell you it's my favorite and I can't even tell you the name. I'm going to close this out and then I'll find it for you. Oops. Gospel. Boy, am I spelling out musicians? You know, I could find it quicker, probably just put Pure Synth in. Pure Synth Platinum. So if you go into theirs, I'm going to go in and download that anyway because I do like it. There you go. I like the Neo Souls is good. This is it. MK Sensation Extreme. I was putting that all backwards. But let me download that because I like that. I have it on my phone too. And I like the Tines one too. I have Basilicious, but it's in my Pure Synth Platinum. Because it's, yeah. But anyway, I like that one too. They have a lot of good stuff in their apps. So anyway, Splat the Clat is cool. Grab it if you haven't gotten it. Yeah. And that's it for this video. I spent way too long on this video, but I'm just telling you how I feel. But I'm hoping that in time the app will grow and I'll find some other use cases. And as I do, I'll let you know, keep you posted on how I feel about it. It may change. That's the way it is with all apps. They start out a certain way and then you either hate them or love them, and then they grow a little bit and the dev will up his game or her game, and then you end up liking the app later. So we'll see. But anyway, that's it for this video. All right, I'm out.